Hey guys, thanks for tuning into F1 Podcast. This is episode 85. And Max, we've had a good day today because we've got to watch the Japanese Grand Prix live.
Finally.
Yeah, Sunday afternoon. Normally we watch races at sort of 11 o'clock Sunday night, but today we've watched it Sunday afternoon. The sun's out, it's great, mate.
We've been spoiled.
Yeah, we have. And, it was an okay race, I got to say. I was stoked to see that Fernando Alonso to win the race, Max. It was a great win. Who would have picked 2 wins on the trot for Fernando?
Not me.
Unbelievable. But we were on the edge of our seats coming the start of the race, and we were talking about it. Max was saying, is Kimi going to try and get the lead? Is Lewis going to be aggressive? What happens? And Kimi did get the lead, but not for too long, mate. Lewis smoked him up.
Sure did.
And there was a little bit of action at turn 1.
It sure was, mate. I mean, it was an exciting start to the race,
Yeah.
no doubt about it. Kimi got off to an absolute blinder. There was a couple of rumours, I guess, that Kimi might have been fueled light.
Yeah.
I tend to subscribe to that theory a little bit, maybe a lap or so lighter, and he got off to a blistering start, and then Lewis just cut back and smoked him up.
He smoked him up all right, and everyone was going wide at turn 1, and of course Alonso and Kubica went through. But Kimi in the press conference, we were having a laugh, Max, saying he's getting hit by McLarens all over the place, and he went wide, but Lewis really smoked them up, and he ended up getting a drive-through penalty for that. And we were talking about that, mate, during the race, and I've got to put my hand up and say I don't agree with that. I think that if a driver smokes up his tyres and brakes a little bit late and goes off the circuit, okay, other drivers have to avoid, but that's motor racing. I don't see why they should be getting penalties for that, but he got one, mate.
Yeah, he did get one. I'm of a little bit of a different school in the sense that Lewis smoked him up all right. He locked him up and forced Kimi wide. And I guess Kimi had to take evasive action to avoid getting hit. So I can understand the penalty, but I can also see the other side of the coin as well, that Lewis is having a crack, and he basically flat spotted his tyres, and that's racing. So. And
let's face it, Lewis is very aggressive. I mean, he's been criticised for it, and there's lots of banter on the internet and other places about Lewis, but he is aggressive, and I tell you, going to turn 1, he was very aggressive.
No doubt about it.
And young Felipe as well, he was pretty aggressive as well throughout the race, but particularly then when he, shortly thereafter went off the circuit and then punted Lewis pretty much from behind. In the rear quarter of Lewis's car. He didn't have control of his car as far as I could see. He also got a drive-through penalty, and well-deserved.
Totally well-deserved. I mean, Massa should have backed off big time and didn't. He chose to try for a gap that didn't exist.
Yeah.
And hit Lewis, and unfortunately that took Lewis effectively out of a point-scoring finish. And I was very disappointed actually with Felipe's actions in that corner.
Pretty fusty.
Well, yeah, a bit overly aggressive, mate, and I think just a dumb move. And when you've got the 2 protagonists for the fighting for the world championship, mate, I mean that's the last thing you want to see. But dumb move from Felipe Massa, I'm afraid.
Yeah, and copped his drive-through penalty, and there was more for Felipe later in the race. He was really on fire, like you said. It was a dumb move on Lewis, and then he was just going for it during the race. But after that, mate, the race kind of settled in. We sort of sat back on the lounge and cracked another beer, and Alonso and Kubica and Kimi were sort of leading the race, and there wasn't a whole lot happening really. No safety cars, we're just saying, mate.
Yeah, surprised there was no safety cars, but then again, I guess it was a dry race. I mean, if you remember this time last year, I mean, it was a bloody hellish race. This year, under grey clouds, or under grey conditions at least, but no safety car this year.
Yeah.
But look, I thought it was a decent race. Not as boring as a couple of the races that we've seen this year, but terrific to see Fernando Alonso get a second race win in a row for Team Reggie.
So who picked it, guys? Which one of you guys picked Fernando Alonso? I mean, as he said in the press conference afterwards, Singapore was a little bit different, but we were saying, mate, Renault's got some genuine pace. I mean, they're the fastest laps that they're doing, the speed that the car's got. The fact that, the 2 big guys were taken out of the race, but Fernando's got genuine pace, and I'm like you, mate, I was really, really happy to see him do it again. And those Renault guys have probably got a bit of a spring in their step now, I reckon.
Mate, I think in the last couple of races, Renault, or the last few races, Renault have unlocked something in that car. Okay, admittedly, the race prior to this one, that yes, there was luck and all that sort of thing. But let's not forget that Fernando Alonso in practice and in the qualifying sessions, he's had some genuine pace. And I don't know what it is they've done, but they've done something. And the guy knows how to lead a race. He knows how to win races. This is race number 21, and I think it's fantastic. Pity that it's a bit too late in the season for Renault to have a stab at anything. But I was really impressed, and I was really thrilled to see Fernando Alonso and Team Reggie back up there.
Yeah, they did, and Kimi was on the podium, so was Robert. And one thing we didn't mention was Bourdais and Massa, which was later in the race. For me, mate, I think that Massa was being, again, a little bit aggressive there. They were pretty much not side by side, but it was touch and go. But did you really need to make that move at that point with them coming out of the pits? I don't know. But
Felipe's desperate for points, mate. I mean, he's trying to close the gap. He's as of now, he's 6 points behind Lewis. I mean, was 7 prior to the start of the race. And I think Felipe is just going all out, no doubt about it. But he does have to keep his head, because he's only a bee's dick away from crashing out in the last 2 races if he doesn't keep his head, a la Lewis last year. But that's the other thing that Pep and I talked about as well. I mean, we're coming into the last couple of races of this season, and it all went pear-shaped for Lewis last year. I hope this isn't important of things to come, but I mean, you never know. There's 2 races to go, and the Ferrari tends to love Brazil, so.
Yeah, and actually Felipe, I'm getting the feeling, Max, that Felipe thinks he's got sort of Brazil in the bank a little bit. Like it's their 10 points, and mate, I wouldn't be that confident. Anything can happen, and don't think that those 10 points are coming to you in the last race, because they're not. And you've done well there, but anything can happen, mate.
Yeah, I totally agree with you. I don't think Ferrari, and I'd be almost surprised if the team themselves are thinking that, and I'm sure they're not. But this is the time of season where complacency can't creep in. I mean, you can't allow it to creep in. There's 6 points separating P1 from P2. Ferrari are now leading the Constructors' Championship by a couple of points, by what, 5, 6 points?
6
now?
points, yeah.
6 points now. Ferrari are there or thereabouts. There's no doubt about it. And in the last 2 races, I mean, let's say Lewis has an incident or finishes out of the points, or only gets 1 or 2 points, and Felipe grabs a bagful. I mean, anything can happen in Formula 1.
Yeah, exactly, mate. And we've got a back-to-back now. We've got China next weekend, so hopefully we'll have another Sunday afternoon viewing of the Grand Prix, mate. And we've already given our tips for the title, so we've both said that Lewis is going to win the title. But geez, I'll tell you what, as Max was just saying, 2007 is kind of ringing in my ears, and I'm thinking, well, come on, guys. You don't have to go for race wins now. You can just finish behind Ferrari and get the title. But I also understand Lewis Hamilton's mindset. He's a racing car driver. He wants to go for it. He wants to be aggressive. Yeah. It's not natural for these guys to be conservative. But if they do, they'll win the title, mate.
In Lewis's defence, this time around, I think you'd agree, he was taken out of this race.
Oh, definitely, by
Felipe Massa.
But he was very aggressive in turn 1. So
no doubt about it. And you don't win a race by leading in turn 1 usually. But I feel a little bit sorry for Lewis and all you Lewis fans out there that he was effectively taken out by Massa. But that's racing, I guess, and I'm sure Felipe, has paid his price by getting his stop go. But there's all to play for. I mean, it's not mathematically out of the equation that Felipe can actually come back and win this championship, as equally as it's not out of Lewis Hamilton's hands yet. So I think in the last 2 races with 20 points on offer for the for race wins, anything can happen, mate.
Yeah. Well, guys, that's our Japanese preview, and we've got China next. So, as always, please leave your comments. Some of you would have seen our unplugged video, which we just put up, and we love your comments, so keep them coming.
Yeah, thanks for all your support, guys.
And we'll see you for the next video.
Okay, bye.